So after the notification of everything, um, my family then proceeded to go about telling, my other uncles that were away at college what had happened, and we began to plan a funeral. The entire time, I would hear the adults talking, and I can hear my grandmother, trying to figure out what exactly happened to my mom. She's trying to piece things together. And like I said before, in a lot of African American households, we're told to stay in a child's place, and we're not told everything. A lot of things are kept from us because we're children. I understand that now as an adult. But I would hear my grandmother say, "He killed her. I know he did it. I know he did it. I know he did. I know it was him." Him being my stepdad. Because I didn't know things as a child, what had happened between my mom and my stepdad. I knew my mother and my stepdad were in the midst of getting a divorce. I knew my mom wanted the house. I knew that my stepdad wasn't willing to give up the house. I knew that he, in my mind, wanted my mom back. And later on, we found out so much stuff, about him. But he wasn't out there looking for her with us. Just think about that. I'll come back to that later. He wasn't out there looking for my mom with us. He had my brother, my little brother, because my little brother is actually his father. That's his blood father. He's my stepfather, my sister's stepfather. But my grandmother would, she would just tell my mom's friends and my uncles, like, "I know he did this to my child. I know it was him." She never let that go until they arrested my mom's boyfriend. And they arrested him for a few things. One reason being, he lied about their relationship because her boyfriend was also her boss. So him lying about the relationship kind of made them zoom in on him more. Because he lied about that, they zoomed in on him. That was one. And the other reason was when my grandmother and my uncle went to collect my mom's things from her apartment and also from the home which we were living in, they brought her things all into my uncle's house in one bedroom. And on a particular day, I remember them going through her stuff, and I saw my mom's purse. And I said, "Oh, that's my mom's purse." And they said, "Yeah, we know that. These are her things." And I said, "No, that's the purse that she left with." And they said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah, I'm sure." "How do you know?" I said, "I broke the zippers here, right here, and here." And so they proceeded to call the police, the detectives that were on the case, and the detectives come and they ask me questions and I answer them, and they back the purse as evidence, because no purse was found with my mom. My mom, when she was found, unfortunately, her body was dumped amongst trash on boulders. She looked as though that someone had tried to do some type of sexual assault to her in regards to her shirt and stuff. But her pants and everything were still on her, but she was just dumped like trash, and she wasn't trash. But no purse was near her. Her house keys were not found with her. The truck keys were found in her pocket, but her house keys weren't found. So once they took the purse and They asked my uncle a few questions. They asked my grandma a few questions. And then they decided to go ahead and hone in on her boyfriend at the time. They didn't really look at any other suspects. I'm finding that out now. They didn't look at my stepdad because they felt as though he had an airtight alibi. He had went and got his candy that night, maybe about 15 minutes after she left or so. So he was on camera buying us candy. From my understanding, they had a lot to go on to look at my stepdad, but they didn't. They didn't do their due diligence in trying to figure out if he was involved or anything like that. I found out from my stepdad, actually, that my mom's boyfriend was arrested. He showed me a newspaper article and said, see, they arrested him. It was him. He's the one who did it. He's the one who took my wife from me and your mom from you. Him. It's like he was gloating. Now, thinking back on it, like I felt like he was like trying to convince me that I should hate this man. But even in that moment, I think I was just very confused as to what was happening, because what I knew of him was he loved my mom. I had never seen this man and my mom really truly argue or anything like that. He was nice to me. This man bought my first boombox. Like, that was a gift from him. He was just so nice to me and my sister and my brother and my mom. So to hear that he was arrested just didn't make sense to me at that time. As time went on, we of course had my mom's funeral, and we had to have a closed casket because she had been out in the sun and she was not herself anymore. She didn't look like herself, so we chose to have, or my grandmother chose to have a closed casket. I didn't get to see my mom because when I looked into the room where her body was in the casket in the mortuary for the viewing, I just saw this dark complexion of a woman, and I just was like, my mom, that's not my mom. She's my complexion. I just told them straight up, that's not my mom. Y'all got the wrong person. And I left. And my grandmother's like, no, it's her. But I left. I couldn't deal with it anymore. After her funeral, we then, I moved in with my grandmother, and my sister and we moved in with my grandmother. There was a big custody battle between my grandmother and my real father. My real father was not capable of raising us. He had been on drugs and things like that. He had never really been in our lives like that. Thankfully, my grandmother won custody of us, so we lived with her. We were separated from my brother because he had his real father, which is my stepfather, and he was capable of taking care of him. We went through high school, and I went through high school, and my sister went to junior high, and in '99, the first trial began.